Gloves Off is always on point. On point. Bringing you the best on current issues, community affairs, and the happenings around us. This segment of Gloves Off is brought to you by The Best, so pay them a visit. Check them out. This is Gloves Off. If you've ever wondered, if you ever had a clue what would happen if Batman, the Avengers, the X-Men fought the 47 Ronin, you will have great hitting, power strikes, and speed. This event will be known as the North Texas Stick Fighting Championships. It's open to all martial artists. This is where legends are formed, where they're forged, where they are founded. Sign up now. Call the number 956-401-4868 and look up the website at www.savate.biz. So remember, this is for serious martial artists. If you're not serious, sit back and whisper about the event. If not, we'll see you there.
Back at you in Gloves Off, and today I have a great guest, a great woman leader. Patricia Barrera, how are you doing?
Doing great. Thank you for inviting me.
No, thank you for coming, and thank you for standing up always for Webb County.
Yes, sir.
And you got some good news coming of age.
Yes, I've made a decision. I am going to seek the office of the Webb County Tax Assessor Collector. I've been very disappointed in how the operation of that office has been, the way it's been running, and I just feel that I left that office running like a fine-tuned machine. All anybody had to do was walk in and continue, and unfortunately, it's gone south. It's gone. It's a disaster, and the worst part is that the people that, when they buy a car, that is like buying a house for them. That is their biggest investment, and they're putting so many barriers, and some of those things are not even what the state of Texas requires, and it's making a lot of people suffer and going into anxiety, because here they purchased a vehicle and now they're being told, I can't register it, okay? And because they want the photo ID of the seller. Well, Texas doesn't require that. As a matter of fact, Texas says if the person signs the back of the title, he doesn't even have to sign the 130U, which is the application for for a title, for the transfer. All you need there is just a signature of the buyer. As long as the back of the title is signed by the seller, the name on the front of the title, you can register it. But they've placed so many extra requirements that it makes it impossible for some people to register it. And then everybody has to go to the information window, and the way people are being treated. I mean, okay, next, like everything, you know, that kind of thing, and people are getting offended, you know. And so I had a lady come to me and say, I don't want to go back to that office. Can somebody else go and register it for me? A title transfer. I said, only your mother or your father, as long as they have your same last name and same address, otherwise you're gonna have to go. So they put a lot of barriers. And you know, my philosophy was, I want you to come in, pay your taxes, do what you have to do, but I really rather that you be out there working, earning a living, and not be stuck in this office for hours just sitting and getting frustrated. And that was my philosophy. My thing was get you in and get you out. That where you thought about, I need to go renew my tags, oh my God, that's such a horrible experience. That's the way it was when I ran, okay? So when I came in back in 1993, my whole philosophy was, I want you out there working. I just want you to come in, drop your money. I'm gonna give you a sticker, I'm gonna give you a receipt, but I need you out there. And I know in time, and this was one of my greatest fears, was that the younger generation was used to just coming in and getting the service and didn't understand what it had been like prior to 1993. I don't know if you remember, Paul, but prior to 1993, there were long lines out at the base. I mean, you'd see the lines maybe, I don't know, maybe 20 feet long, besides what was already inside. This was just outside in the parking area.
There were long lines, and it changed a lot, you know. And
Yeah.
I was here and not here for the period of the decade of the 90s. And when I came back, I went in there and everything had changed, because I had seen it prior, and I had
Right.
seen it the way you move
Yeah.
things. Things had changed. The people were amicable,
Yeah, exactly.
and people were treated well.
Yes.
I have not been there now, but I've heard many stories, and I don't know if it's you know, everybody will blame the top, but I don't know if it's the lower ones doing it or not. But there is a problem there that needs to be fixed, and it's sad, because when you go from a good service to a bad service, people feel it.
Yes. And that's
People
what's
feel it,
going on.
and that's what's going on. What else have you heard? Or what else
Well,
has
to me,
enticed you to run?
everything is customer service. And if you remember my logo, it's all about the service. And that's what I'm gonna run on, the service. You remember, you've been there when I was there, that's what we're gonna run on. That it's all about the service. I had high collectible percentages. I don't know what there are like right now, but I remember when I first ran, I myself preferred to be driving with an expired sticker than going to that place and standing in line during my lunch hour, only to leave without having lunch and without getting my sticker. So many times it was like, hey, just let it go. And I think a lot of people had that mentality, and it may be coming back. And that's bad. And it's bad for the county, and it's just bad.
It's bad all around, because you're gonna
Yeah.
have people that are driving without stickers.
Right.
And they're
And
gonna prefer that.
And now you have to have the inspection before you can get the sticker.
Sure.
So if there's something wrong with the car, you're gonna have to fix it before you can get the inspection to buy the sticker. So that even makes our streets safer, okay, because of that inspection, you know. So anyway, so I'm running. I've had as a matter of fact, people are asking me to run. So I feel that I need to, you know, it's a calling, you know, basically. people are calling for me to run, and I'm going to run. So,
Well, that's great, and things need to change, you know, and you know, wish you both the best.
thank you.
Whoever, and all candidates that are running, you know, the best,
Sure,
because there's things to learn from this,
right.
and you know, and as you well know, the staff that you had, are they the same staff now?
Some have left, but when she came in, the staff was like 95% there.
Are they still there now?
Not all of them, no, but most of management is. But it's all about management, and management comes from the top. It doesn't come from the rank and file. And supervisors need to be allowed to supervise. That's why they make the big bucks, because they have to shoulder on the responsibility of service, you know, of supervising. If there's one or two people there that are pretending to be doing something, you know, shifting papers or whatever, then you look at their productivity compared to the other ones around. That was something I always did. I checked productivity. How much did you do? You know, how long did it take from one renewal to another renewal? All that is in the receipts. So it's part of management. When you see someone that's lacking, you need to either you speak with them, then you place them in a place where they can't hide. You're going to be the first one that we're going to send someone to. Basically, that's what you do. It's management, you know.
To be in this position, do you need any type of certificates from the state, any type of requirements?
You have to be certified, and the main certification is with the property taxes. But you have time to take your classes. You have to take certain classes, and they tell you which ones are the first ones you have to take, so you comply with that. Some you can do on the internet, but most you have to attend because there's a test to be taken, and you have to pass that. But I did that when I first came in. We had 5 years. I did it in less than 4 years. So, you know.
So you do have a leeway to get better.
Yeah. I mean, they allow you, once you get elected, the people have spoken, but then you do have to comply. And the main thing is because of the property taxes.
And is that something that the candidates that have run before have had before, or they understand going in there that they have to comply with that by a certain period of time? And if they have?
Well, you have to comply. Now, my opponent, when I first ran, they were grandfathered in.
Sure.
The law became effective in the 90s, early 90s. So when I came in, I had to. But before I took office, I started taking classes on my own. I went to Austin and took classes. So by the time I started on January 1st, 1993, I already had like 4 or 5 courses under my belt. You know, so.
Besides the service, what else would you like to change now that you've been out and said, you know what, I can do this better and modify this? What would be the next thing that you would like to see?
There's a lot of people that, for whatever hardships come upon them, they can't pay their taxes. And most of those are in their homestead.
Mm-hmm.
Back about, I'm going to say now it's been about 6 or 7 years, the state legislature passed a law that if it's your homestead, you can go and demand to be given a contract up to 3 years. No one tells the people that. Okay?
Can you elaborate on that?
Sure. What it is, the legislature says, it's not up to the tax assessor collector, be it from the school districts or the city or the county. It's up to the taxpayer to go and say, I want a contract for my delinquency.
Okay.
And you have 3 years to pay it. You can't miss a payment. There's certain requirements, but it stops the attorneys, the delinquent attorneys, from putting your property up for sale. But this is only the homestead, okay? And people would come to us, and because I started, once the law became into effect, I announced it, and I would announce it as often as I got interviewed during the tax season and even off this tax season. and people would come, but they would go to the city or they would go to UISD and they would be denied. Or they were told, go to the delinquent attorneys. What the delinquent attorneys would do, and are still doing, that's if people are asking for this, they are giving them a contract with them.
Oh, okay, and that
That's
changes
not the
when-
one from the legislature, okay? So at any point, and they're gonna tell you, you have to pay me so much, and you only have this time to pay it, okay? What this law does, even if it's up for sale, and you go on Monday, because the sales are always on the first Tuesday, and you go on Monday and you demand that, they have to stop it. That's what the law says.
Now, if this has been going on, and these taxing entities have been doing that, wouldn't that be fraud?
Oh yeah, but people don't know about it. Okay? People don't know. And it's up to the judges now. It used to be that the 49th court was the one who handled all the delinquencies, okay? Now it's any court, any of the district courts.
District court.
But the judges need to be made aware of what's going on with the delinquent attorneys. And that's when I ran. That's what I ran on, was on putting up people's homes for sale, and yet other people's empty lots were never sold because they were in the politics, or, okay, they had connections. And I've always stood for the little people, and if the law is there to protect them, I'm gonna let you know, and that's what I did, and I will continue to do that if I'm elected in 2020. I will continue voicing out to people what they can do to protect their home. I mean, most people, that is the greatest investment that they do.
For sure, that and their children. And what happens is some people end up in some problem in life, whatever it may be, and they go under. And I've seen people get their whole houses taken away because of that. And if a taxing entity is not telling them that, then they're misleading the people. Now, worse is that for them, like you said, they send them to an attorney.
The delinquent attorney.
The delinquent attorney. Now, the delinquent attorney does his own contract that without telling them what's. I mean, there's a lot right there. There's so many people that can. I mean, I can see people losing their licenses.
I just had a lady who lives in the UISD school district. She has a property and she has a mobile home.
Okay.
And she was under on both, and they were putting both of them for sale. She could cover one. She said, I can save my land. Okay? I can pay you everything off, United. And what did she went to go pay at the tax office? No, we can't take your payment. You've got to go to the delinquent attorneys. She goes to the delinquent attorneys, and she wants to pay off what's owed on the land. And they said, no, they're all both one. No, they're not. Because one had a 900 account, and the other one, the mobile home, an 812. Those are mobile homes. Anything 812 is a mobile home. Every other the land is different, okay? And they told her no. She came to me, to my office, and asked me, can you help me? I said, you need to see an attorney, but they're wrong. This is what the law says, but you need an attorney to talk to that attorney, because then he knows, that attorney knows the law, and he can lose his license, okay? So she went, I recommended somebody to her, she went, and the attorney just picked up the phone, and the clerk said, can I help you? No, you cannot. I need to speak to the attorney. And, oh, I didn't realize that. Yes, she can pay the land. It was gonna be up for sale on Tuesday, next week. So she saved her land.
You see, that type of nefarious actions have been going on for years.
For decades.
Forever.
Yes.
And they hire the same delinquent attorneys.
Sure.
They're the same ones that are going in there.
Sure.
And number one, I don't see how they sleep at night, because they've taken people's homes just because, and then they think that they're doing something great. And with this right here, I wish people could stand up and protect the ones that have lost them. Like I said, it can happen to anybody.
That's
And
right.
to start seeing some of these attorneys basically get hammered and lose their license. And I hate to have anybody lose their livelihood, but when you're doing something maliciously and fraudulently against somebody else, you should. Have your
Especially
license.
the little people.
Exactly.
Especially the people that struggle to buy a piece of land.
And more so, Ms. Barrera, is the taxing entity allowing this to continue.
Well,
You know what I'm
you got
saying?
the contributions that go on. I mean, that's how they get their contract, you know. It's unfortunate, but nobody listens to the taxpayer. And I think it's up to the taxpayer to see, who am I putting on that board? Who am I putting on that council? Who am I putting at commissioner's court? Because they make so many decisions that affect so many people's lives and their family. So that's really why I'm running for.
That's, you know, and that's an honorable cause. And you see that. You see that throughout. The taxpayer is being pushed aside.
Mhm.
I'm gonna tell you something that I was told that was gonna change next September. And it was gonna be that anything, any investment by any municipality over a certain amount of millions has to be placed in the vote by the people.
Good.
Okay? They're gonna stop the taxes, Abbott just signed it. Doesn't go into effect until the next year. So you're gonna start seeing from now to December, all the taxing entities raise their taxes left and right because next year there's gonna be a cap?
Praise God, that's
Now,
wonderful.
you understand what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
So apparently that's what, as the law says. So if that's what was signed, you're gonna see all these taxing entities that said, no, we're not gonna raise your taxes, and raise them. And they're gonna raise them dramatically because next year, they're not gonna be able to do so.
Well, that's good.
And if there's gonna be some bond or some investment that now has to be passed in front of the people to vote, how you're gonna spend your money.
So does that, well, bonds always have to be placed on the ballot.
Anything now.
But
Apparently.
they
that's what
could
it-
buy certificates of obligations, and all they have to do is just go and you know, get
Yeah.
the loan.
Apparently, I think that changed. I think anything
Right.
now has to be placed by a vote. So you're gonna start seeing a lot of these big time,
Spend-
white elephants, what people call.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, guess what? We just voted it in and we have to start construction because next September it's gonna be different.
I didn't realize that. Well,
So things are gonna change. Things
Yeah.
are gonna move in a different format, but you're gonna start seeing a lot more spending money in all the municipalities and all taxing entities and raising their taxes before September of next year.
and I think we need to go before the different boards. I will tell you this, LISD has always honored that law. If they would go, person would come to our office and they were with LISD, LISD immediately would give them the contract, we would give it to them. The problem was the city, who would not. But when it's UISD and the city, they will not offer you. And they will not even take a payment. I would. If the property was up for sale and somehow they came up with the money, I would take the money.
You have to.
You know, of course. I mean, where does it say you have to go only to the delinquent attorney? And then it's only up to the delinquent attorney to say yay or nay. And for them, it's a nay. Because they make more money that way. You know, so that's and part of it is because they're gonna get the percentage of what the actual sale price was. And nothing's gonna go for 3,000 or 4,000 it's sold, even 10,000 when a property is worth 80 or 90,000. So then when you put it up on the block or you sell it on the side, you're gonna get maybe 50,000, 60,000. So their percentage of what they earn has now increased.
And that's sad. And
Yeah.
that's sad. That's,
Yes, it is, and it makes a lot of people that are in that dilemma, It makes me very nervous. It can even cause a sickness just
Oh,
because of the worry.
There's a lot
you
of
know?
suicides and so on and so forth. There's
Oh,
there's
yes.
a lot of stuff that can occur when the person is placed, where they're back against the wall
That's
and they're
right.
coming at them. And it's sad, and hopefully these people can sleep at night, and one day they'll end up
They'll
paying
meet
the
their
price.
maker.
They'll pay their toll upstairs with St. Peter.
That's right.
And unfortunately, there's an old saying, la tierra vale quien tiene y en el cielo vale quien merece. And here
Yeah.
that's the way it is, unfortunately, and well, hopefully we can change that, because you gave us some great pearls for people to understand
Yeah.
what's going on. I guarantee you that the majority of taxpayers do not know that about that law,
No.
and I
And
guarantee
if
you.
you're not telling them or advising them, then it's, no.
Is it their right to tell?
It's the right of the taxpayer to go and tell, I want this contract.
Right, and if they do that,
Then the
tax
tax assessor
has to do
collector
it.
must do it. It's not a shall or, it's a shall or a must, but it's not a may. You have to do what the taxpayer wants. That's what the legislature's law said. So, and that's one part of the job that very few people know. Now, getting the tags and the long lines or the treatment, that is everywhere. Everybody understands that because everybody has to go renew their tax once or twice a year because they have one or two cars or multiple cars, So that's an experience that they got quickly, okay? That was right away. We started hearing the people dissatisfaction, and I mean, people would just come to my office just to vent and to tell me their experience. They come straight from the tax office to me, but the greatest one to me is the taxes, where they're not being told their rights, and this lady, by the grace of God, was able to save at least her land. She said, I can lose the mobile home, but at least let me have my land, which was the one that had the greatest value. So we had at least one winner there. So anyway.
And it's sad.
Yep.
It's sad. But let's change the subject a little bit.
Okay.
And that's one thing that you'd like to change. What else would you like to see different?
Well, I was always there, and I wasn't just there, but I was working. I don't know, people might remember I always had tennis shoes on because it was a big lobby, and I like helping people out, and that's what I just want to return that service that taxpayers got used to for over 25 years. I remember when I first got elected, and I was out in the lobby directing traffic, and there was a lady sitting on the bench. I think I was there like March, my third month, and the lady said, ahorita estás aquí, pero vamos a ver cuánto duras walking up and down. Well, I took that challenge and I did it for 25 years. And if the people give me their vote and their trust to return back to the tax office, I will do that again. That's my pledge, that I will be there for them and they can speak with me. That's the difference. You don't get to speak to the tax collector. Some of the taxing units, you don't get to talk to the tax collector there. United, they will not come out. No, they will not put their front. It's just, nope, can't do it, and that's it. So I come from a family that's a working family. I went to college because of the business my dad and mom started, and I worked there since I was a little kid, and that's all I know. All I know is how to work, and I just want that opportunity again.
Well, hopefully God grants you that
Yes.
wish, and the people speak out. But the people need to be informed about everything that's going on.
And
what you
people
just-
need to go vote.
People need to vote.
go vote because
It is this election year is going to be very, very crucial year for the whole United States.
correct.
from, not only from our hometown, but throughout. So people need to go out there and vote. Because the freedoms that we have, the liberties that we have to protect them, or else we can lose them very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So we have to go out there and stand up.
Yeah, all this socialism is
Yeah,
not
not
America.
America. It's
It's
not.
not America. America is the way it is because of the free enterprise, our market system, where it allows. My dad had nothing but a piece of land on Corpus Christi Street that he inherited from his parents. That's all he had after World War II. And he came back from Monterrey from studying at the Tecnológico because they were going to sell that property. And at that time, if somebody was living in the homestead, the city would not sell it. So my father got a call. He came back from Monterrey, didn't finish his university studies to save the land. And there he's, with his own hands and with an uncle, they built our first store, the beginning of the store. And while my mother ran the store, my dad worked for Zachary. And then he went into the business 100%. And we got to have 6 stores, okay? And we all grew up working. But it was the American, that dream.
That dream, and I'm gonna say something about that dream. I don't care where you are in the world, they say the American dream.
That's
They don't
right.
say the South African dream, or the Russian dream, or
Or
the Mexican
dream.
or the Guatemala dream, or the
No.
Senegalese dream, or Nigerian dream.
It's the American dream.
It's the American dream. In fact, they don't even say the Saudi Arabia dream.
No.
They say American dream.
And part of that dream is what? Owning a home.
Exactly.
For
right.
most people, the first dream is owning a car
Sure.
or a pickup to go to work.
Absolutely.
That's their first dream.
And we have to protect those, because I
That's
guarantee you, we can lose them that quick. And we have to stand up and, number one, vote.
That's it.
Vote.
You have to speak. And what people don't understand, they make it sound so beautiful. We're gonna pay your college, it'll be free. Everything's gonna be medication, your doctor, everything's gonna be free. But what they don't tell you, that people who own homes, own cars, own businesses, they lose it all. It all becomes now the government. The government owns the schools, the government owns the businesses, the government everything. And just look at the vets. Look at
The perfect example, look at an Indian reservation. But what we need to see is there's no one ever leaving as a refugee from a capitalist country of America to a socialist country. All these socialists, there's plenty of socialist countries out there.
Yeah,
In communist countries, why don't you all just go over there?
they're fleeing them.
They're fleeing them to come here to what?
That's right.
The American dream.
That's
So we
right.
need to we have to step back. It sounds very nice and cozy, and
Yeah.
people might label you right-winger and all these other names out there, and believe me, no. We're just Americans that love liberty and our freedom,
That's it.
and the red, white, and blue,
Yeah.
and that's it. It's no longer about Democrat or Republican. It's not about American and something else.
Right.
So people go out there and vote.
You have families from here in Laredo
Sure.
that their daughter was very sick and couldn't eat all kinds of food. They developed their own chips and tortillas and all that, and now they're millionaires.
Yes.
And they weren't any richer than you and for me, but they had that one situation for that one child, and they put their brains together, and before they knew it, they had created something that the whole world wants,
Absolutely
and
correct.
started buying. That you can't go to Russia and do something like that. You can't go to Venezuela because it's the government.
Can't go to Mexico.
Tampoco, There's so many barriers in Mexico to be able to make it. You have to be rich to be able to make more money. So the little guy has very little opportunities, and that's why they come to this country, because they know, I can make it. have an idea and I can put it to work.
Absolutely correct. And so again, I want to thank you for standing up.
Thank you.
Anything else you'd like to tell the folks out there?
No, just please go out and vote on March 2020. That's going to be the election. And if you hear that I sound strong, tune it out, go and vote, because that's going to be the problem, people voting.
Yeah.
And that's what we need. We want change at that office. We need to go out and vote, and I ask for your vote.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And folks out there, be careful. The kids are out, and remember, stop when the bus stops.
Yeah.
For 30 years, Buitron Academy has produced great fighters, peace officers, firemen, and many great citizens of Laredo. We teach various martial arts, savate, kempo, capoeira, each in their own traditions, trajectory, history, and pedagogy. Buitron Academy is the first school of savate in the United States, the first capoeira movement in Texas, the first kempo school in Laredo. What will one expect to see at Buitron Academy? Respect, fellowship, coordination, skill, and self-defense. Buitron Academy is located at 220 West Hillside Road.
If you ever had a clue what would happen if Batman, the Avengers, the X-Men fought the 47 Ronin, you will have great hitting, power strikes, and speed. This event will be known as the North Texas Stick Fighting Championships. It's open to all martial artists. This is where legends are formed, where they're forged, where they are founded. Sign up now. Call the number 956-401-4868 and look up the website at www.savate.biz. So remember, this is for serious martial artists. If you're not serious, sit back and whisper about the event. If not, we'll see you there. Gloves Off is always on point. Bringing you the best on current issues, community affairs, and the happenings around us. This segment of Gloves Off is brought to you by the best, so pay them a visit. Check them out. This is Gloves Off.